Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
This is episode 281, The Best Star-Spangly Man.
We are in the Geek Cave.
Nerd Den.
Nerd Den.
The Nerd Den Studio.
I was going to say Nerd Den, but yeah.
It's the Nerd Den Studio, live and in charge. We have our special guest who's laying at your feet right now. So, which I guess is better than what she was 30 seconds ago up in your face.
Yeah.
So, Toph, she might bark. I don't know. My wife and daughter are at Disney World right now, so I'm leaving the door open to the studio so that she feels like she's not left all alone for 2 hours. Anyway, hey, so we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. We're obviously going to be talking about Superman and Lois, which is going on hiatus after this week until May. Talking non-spoiler kind of summary of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then if you want to hear our commentary track on it, go sign up on Patreon. Thank you, Matt and Jess, for being patrons. Does Jess listen?
Yes.
So, Jess, I hope you enjoy the special
I'm having trouble hearing you.
gift that I got for you. So, Suri's having trouble hearing us. Anyway, but so we've got, for News Bites, we've got some Suicide Squad stuff, Marvel Comics, actual comics news, which is really, I think, is a good thing. Black Widow news and Batwomans, I guess is the only way to put it, and some Avengers rumors.
Yeah. I
think that's the best way to look at that. But hopping right into it, the Suicide Squad released a new second trailer, and there was a red band version. And I don't know about you, but if there's a red band version of the trailer, that's the one I watch.
Oh, yeah. I don't even touch the other one.
Every time. It's like, and I actually seek out. It's like there's a new trailer for whatever kind of movie. It's like I'm gonna go look for a red band trailer. Oh, quick aside, we're gonna do a special episode later in the week about the first 3 episodes of Invincible on Amazon Prime, which just dropped. I have lots of thoughts, and
I will have lots of thoughts too after I finish the second and third episode.
Anyway. So that'll be coming later in the week if anybody was wondering. But Suicide Squad. So this trailer came out. I'm not quite sure how this got a sequel.
Yeah. Okay, so when I talk about the Suicide Squad, I liken it to movies like The Last Jedi, for me at least. The Last Jedi and the Justice League, in the sense that when I saw them in the theater, I thought they were middling okay, but the more I thought about it, the more I disliked, and that's exactly what happened with the original Suicide Squad.
Right.
I do not like that movie.
I mean, I kind of feel like the Suicide Squad sequel was Birds of Prey, the emancipation of the fantabulous, egg sandwich loving, Joker hating Harley Quinn.
Yes, with her hyena pet.
Well, his name was Bruce.
Bruce,
so,
yes.
But
I forgot his name.
Yeah, anyway.
I like Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce was a good hyena.
Yes.
But yeah, so I don't know. There's something weird going on with Idris Elba's Bloodsport character, and I don't even know who he was talking to because I was only half paying attention. I actually fell asleep watching it. The trailer.
Yeah, so
I was sitting right there in that comfy chair, and I put it on the tablet, and then completely woke up 2 minutes later, and it was over.
So I will tell you, did you ever watch the trailer for the teaser trailer for that Suicide Squad game? A couple.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, so that looked really interesting.
That was cool.
That was cool.
When they try and kill Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see that more than I want to see this.
I don't even want that to be a game. I just want them to make an animated movie.
Oh, absolutely.
You see those animatics off of that.
Yeah.
That would
100%.
That would be great. But yeah, so I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, it comes out at some point on HBO Max, and it'll be a thing.
The thing I'll say about it is that I was not impressed by the trailer for one bit, but I do trust James Gunn. Yes.
Yeah.
Toph wants to speak.
Toph, what
is
do you
your
think?
thoughts on the trailer? So
keep talking.
yeah, I trust James Gunn, and so I'm hoping that he delivers with the movie, because again, the trailer was just not impressive for me. I did like some of the moments with King Shark.
Well, when he was eating the guy,
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But yeah, but I mean, other than that, like Joel Kinnaman running around like a unicorn shirt or whatever he was wearing, it's like, one, I don't like him anyway.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, I don't know.
If he dies a gruesome death, Brian, you're just going to rewind it about a dozen times, aren't you?
No, because I don't like hate him. I just don't like him as an actor.
Yeah, and you don't like his character. You're going to, well, maybe not a dozen, probably
Yeah.
a half dozen.
I mean, Rick Flag is a really cool character, and you know, if it was any other actor playing him, I'd be all right with it. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Suicide Squad, it's coming out at some point.
Yeah, I don't even know when. Maybe August
this year.
Who knows?
On
Who knows?
HBO Max. So yeah, moving on. Marvel Comics actually made some groundbreaking news, and it's really funny because they announced that they're leaving Diamond Publishing. And so if you're not a comic book person, Diamond Distribution, sorry. Diamond is the distribution center for comics. It was a monopoly for 25 years until DC left them last summer because they shut down during the 2 weeks to slow the spread. And basically put all of their customers at risk because there were all these books that had been printed that were ready to go. They just needed to be shipped. And so DC said, you know what? If you're not going to ship the books, we're going to do it with this other company called Luminal. And then there was a second company in there that has since decided not to do it. And DC was lambasted. They're like, this is the worst thing that, you know, all that hyperbole. This is the worst thing that's happened to comics. The world may actually end today. The apocalypse is nigh. The end is nigh. Like Rorschach was out as a smelly preacher on the corner, like, down with DC, the end is nigh. Anyway, so Marvel announced yesterday that they are going exclusively with Penguin Random House for comics, graphic novels, young adult novels, and floppies, which is individual comic issues. And it has been literally universally praised. And it's like, really? But here's the thing. I think this is good. This will be good because the Diamond monopoly has been bad, and you know, Diamond doesn't care. They don't care about their customers, and so Random House. Words are hard, Darryl.
Penguin Random House.
Penguin Random House. Let's just call it PRH.
Yeah.
PRH is going to ship for free. Each comic book store is getting a sales rep. And then the actual floppy issues of comic books are going to be shipped in specific like containers that protect them instead of just cardboard boxes that are
we don't have cardboard boxes. Yeah.
I mean, like, you and I order toys constantly, and like Walmart will send them in a blister pack. So does Amazon. It's like, you just sent me an exclusive that I'm not going to be able to get another one of these, and the packaging is literally destroyed.
Yeah. That's why I've kind of gone with if I'm getting a pop, it's pop in a box, because they have the hard cardboard box, and then they have the stuff around it, and then they have the shipping box.
I mean, that's why like you go with like Big Bad Toy Store as much as you possibly can, because you can do the collector's grade shipping where it's just perfect. But no, I honestly, I think this is a good thing. Now, Diamond isn't going out of business. Like, they're still going to do IDW. They're still going to do Boom, Dynamite, all the little indie publishers. And here's the thing. If you're an independent comic book publisher, now is the time to strike with Diamond, because you're going to be able to negotiate a much better rate with them as far as, you know, what your comic can be sold for. And yeah, they're still going to do toys and stuff. Wholesalers are still going to be able to get Marvel through Diamond and things like that. But this is good for comic book stores, in my opinion, other than the fact that they they have to order from a second or now a third shipping house. But like before Diamond, there were like 24 of them that they would have to order from. So, there's 3 now.
Right.
Whoops. But it says here, PRH has made it known that the standard discount rate to retailers is 50% discount off of Marvel products, which can be less than the variable rate discount based on volume they receive from Marvel through Diamond. So Diamond has changed it a few times. I know with Luminal, with DC, like they only get like 20 or 30% off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I mean, this is a much better deal. And there was rumors, we talked about this a couple months ago. There was rumors that Penguin Random House was gonna get DC. Like that DC was gonna like leave and just stop doing comics, and Penguin was actually gonna facilitate all of that. So, I don't know. I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, for me, again, I'm not into the comic world like you, but anytime you have competition is good because it forces creativity. It forces, like you were saying, Diamond has had a monopoly for 25 plus years or whatever it is. They're going to be forced to, reevaluate their business practices. And like you said, people coming into the game, it's a boon for them because they have choices. And, the prices they're going to be able to get are going to be probably a lot more conducive or better than it would have been
it's a
without
better margin.
Yeah.
And Marvel prints so many variant covers now, and you have to buy 1,000 copies of a book to get like certain variant covers, which you could sell for more money, but like it doesn't make up for the fact that you'd have to buy 1,000 copies of that book and have 940 of them sit around. But yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think this is a good thing, and we'll see. We'll just see how it turns out. So sticking with Marvel, moving into Black Widow, it got pushed back again. So it's July 9th now. Maybe. And it will get the premium video on demand onto Plus, but it'll be released in the theaters at the same time. This will be the interesting test because I don't think any of the VOD stuff, premium VOD stuff on Disney has done especially well.
Yeah.
And if you're going to open it in the theater at the same time as a $30 price tag when the pandemic is essentially over, like most states are opening back up, and by July I think most of the country will be open up to full capacity. It's greed. 100% greed. And the fact that they pushed it back again, I do not care if I see this movie at this point.
So when you said the big thing, you said July 9th right now. And I've said this to you. I've said this to other people. I used to be extremely excited for this movie.
Yeah, she's your girl.
Yeah. I will be excited for this movie when I am actually in the seat about to watch it when the credits start, because I'm so disgusted by how they've handled this.
Even then I don't trust it. Like they're gonna be like, you know what? No, come back next week. You got one more week to go.
No, you know what would be? It would be a kick in the teeth is if you start watching it 20 minutes in and then just everything fails.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm done. I'm not even watching it when it comes on. I'm done.
I'm not buying it. I'm not watching it. I'm throwing all of my Black Widow stuff off a cliff. I'm done. Done.
But yeah, this is absolute greed because the whole plan, that $30 anyway, is it annoys the hell out of me because you're paying $30 to basically rent it, and if you ever leave Disney Plus, you lose access to that movie.
Correct.
Why would I do that?
Because you can wait a month and buy it on Vudu or iTunes for $30 or whatever it is,
right? And
you don't have to pay $7 a month or $8.99 a month for Disney now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about this, but it was newsworthy, and especially like I said, because Natasha's your girl, we got to bring it up.
Yeah, again, I'm more excited. You know what I'm excited for? Well, Mortal Kombat in a month or in 3 weeks, and next week Kong vs. Godzilla.
Yeah,
because you know what? I know when they're going to be out. Mm-hmm. So,
yes, next week and then 2 weeks after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, moving on to Batwomans. So they they're desperate to keep the show on the air. There are YouTube channels, not our YouTube channel, because you guys aren't doing your job and sharing the YouTube videos, but there are YouTube channels out there that are not even huge YouTube channels that get more viewers than Batwoman, and it's sad. It's really sad. But they have brought in Wallace Day to take over as Kate Kane, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but at some point didn't they find like Kate Kane's like
I thought they found her like
body parts?
Yeah,
they found like an arm and like a couple toes and maybe a nipple. I don't know. But so she is Wallace Day. I'm assuming that's how you say it. I haven't seen anybody pronounce it any other way. It's Wallis. So she's British, so maybe it's Wallace Day. But she was on Krypton, so maybe she's not one of the Batwomans. Maybe she's a Kryptonian coming into the show. Who knows?
Maybe that'll save it, because if you're looking for the definition of a tire fire, dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it, it's Batwoman. The writers in that show are so bad.
Yeah.
And again, I was one of those. I actually, yes, I had to watch the first 13 episodes or so, because I was reviewing it for where I work.
For the other site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes, they were cringy, but they weren't terrible. And I like Ruby Rose. I mean, she's not a great actor, but I just like her charisma and what she brings.
I used to like Ruby Rose. I don't care for her so much anymore.
But after episode 3, it was a slog to get through. Yeah, 6 more, 7 more, 8 more weeks of that, and and it's gotten worse since. I don't watch it, but I'll there are some people that online that actually kind of do the summaries of the, and it's hilarious to watch. And just the writing is so bad. So bad.
Yeah. In this article from the Hollywood Reporter, this is my favorite paragraph in the whole article. To be clear, Kane is no longer Batwoman, who is now played by Javisa Leslie. I think that's how you say her name.
Yeah.
The first black actress to play the character in a live action drama. Leslie plays Ryan Wilder, who took over the superhero role in the second season. Why does that matter? What did she say is Javisa Leslie, the second person to play Batwoman in live action.
That's all you have.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
You've got quotes down here, as a lesbian who's working as a writer for the past 15 years, I'm well aware of the bury your gays trope. I have no interest, just all of this, this show is so wrapped up in the identity of these people. Mm-hmm. Right. And not just the identity of the characters, which, is bad enough. But the identity of the actors has to match perfectly. Mm-hmm. So I imagine if they do introduce Bruce Wayne at some point, they're going to have to find some 6'4" jacked billionaire who's an orphan and watch his parents die, because that's the only way that Batman will be accepted on this show with an actor.
Because I always thought acting was pretending to be someone you're not.
Well, I think the way most actors are now, that's even a stretch.
Yeah.
So the quote unquote art of acting has really kind of fallen apart lately.
Yeah. And that's why a show like, and we'll talk about it later, show like Supes and LoLo continues to keep its ratings because it doesn't do this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, again, people want, above all else, good stories.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for.
And I will say, this week's episode of Supes and LoLo kind of meandered a little bit.
Yeah.
But the cliffhanger it gave us at the end, it was well worth the ride to get there. 100%. But no, as far as Batwoman's goes, there's even talk that Ruby Rose is going to come back.
Yeah, and
again, I don't know if that's rumors of just them trying to get people to watch, but even the first episode with Wallace Day did not do so well. So, the fact that this show's been picked up for a third season,
I don't think there's any way they they start production on the season 3.
Here's the thing: is I don't think Warner Brothers likes money.
Oh, I don't.
I mean, they do the Justice League, then they do the Snyder Cut, then they just like shit all over the people who liked the Snyder Cut. Of which I'm not in that camp, but like that's still not a good thing.
Okay, how bad is that for business? Is when you release something that millions of fans have wanted for 3 years.
Tens of fans.
Millions of fans have wanted for 3 years, or is it 3 years? Maybe 4 years.
2017, my friend.
Jeez, man, time goes by. That have wanted that for years, and again, not everybody's going to like it. Obviously, no movie's going to be like that, but many people liked it enough to make videos about it and all this, and then you don't even go a week. You don't even let it simmer for a week.
It was
before
like that day.
Yeah, and you're just like shitting
like
all over it.
It was that Thursday night or whatever.
Yeah, and then you go with the trope, the toxic fan trope again.
We know who the toxic fans are, and it's not the hardcore fans.
No.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan. I'm not a gatekeeper for Star Wars. I have a daughter who I have indoctrinated into the world of nerd.
You're a good man to do that, too.
It's just... Like, she knew the founding members of the Justice League before she could say her ABCs. I feel like that's parenting right. That's winning at parenting. But she's now, like, I even asked her, I said, hey, have I ever made you feel like you can't like something that I like? No. Ask my wife. Do you ever feel like, I'm more into this stuff than you are? Like, do I ever make you feel like you're not like allowed to like it? And she's like, no, you encourage, you encourage us, both of us to like what we like, even if you don't.
Well, what did you say last week? I mean, you give me shit all the time, and I give you shit.
I'm really happy that you liked it.
But no, that's exactly what you said.
I'm very happy.
That's exactly what you said.
And anybody who liked it, I'm very happy that you liked it. I'm not in your camp of being the person.
And
that
you know what?
It,
You're not.
I'm happy that you have.
You know what? I'm not going to call you the devil for not liking it. For other stuff maybe, but
well, I mean, definitely. I mean, come on. Anyway, that was a sight gag.
Yeah,
that you guys don't get to see. Anyway, but no, it's things like this, right? And this show that never put story first, and I'm speaking from your experience of what you've relayed to me, watching people talk about it. Like when Eric July talks about this stuff, and he goes off on tokenizing a tokenized character. It might be my favorite rant that he does.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just enough. Like they're gonna have to go to a point where enough is enough, and they're gonna have to start making things for the mainstream again, and not for the fringe elements of various fans.
Because of what have we said about a lot of this stuff that's going on in the comics, a lot of this stuff that goes on in Batwoman and these shows. The people that they're pandering to don't buy their products.
Right.
They don't.
But here's the thing: is the people who have kept them afloat are stopping buying their products.
Yes.
So here, let's put this one to bed, because the next story is kind of in the same vein. So they're talking. A rumor is, will Monica be the Avengers' new leader? Marvel's producers hint at the possibility. So Monica Rambeau as the leader of the Avengers. I'm just gonna say this. Teyonah Parris is a fine actress. If you're gonna pick an actress from that TV show to put the shoulders of a franchise on, she's the third one that I would pick. Actually, let me rephrase that. She's the fourth one that I would pick. I go Elizabeth Olsen. I go Kat Denning. I go Catherine Hahn. And then I go Teyonah Parris.
Yeah.
I just, like, she was not engaging enough as that character for me to really want to see any more about her.
Yeah, it was the same thing when Captain Marvel came onto the scene, and got all of this pub that was not earned in the sense of in the story.
Yeah.
And there was the thought that she was going to be the new leader of the Avengers. And very similarly, Brie Larson does not have, I'm not going to use the word, she does not have the strength of character.
The gravitas. She does not have the, hold on, the gravitas.
Yes, you have to have the
I have to have the pinky up.
Yeah. She does not.
Well, and I put the monocle on too, so, that made up for it.
And the bowler hat.
Well, the top hat's at the cleaner, so.
You can do the bowler, not the top hat. Yeah, neither one of them they haven't earned it. Monica hasn't done enough. And again, this has nothing, part of it has to do with Teyonah Parris's, how she brings the character to life, but I think a lot of it has to do with how they wrote the character as well. They didn't do her any favors, and she wasn't able to bring the material that she was given above what it was. She does not, it's from what we've seen, she does not deserve to be put into the leadership mantle of the Avengers. She just doesn't.
Well, and she's not a leader, right?
No.
I would put her in the camp of the Winter Soldier. She goes off on her own.
Mm-hmm.
She's more of a Spider-Man. Spider-Man's not going to lead, especially in Tom Holland. Spider-Man's not going to lead anything. But no. So from the direct where this comes from, so we talked about how Jack Schaefer said she's a bad comic book reader, and I don't judge her for that. And I actually we praised the what she was able to do without knowing about this, while other people kind of tore apart. But she says, so Schaefer's rundown of Monica's MCU history perfectly provides a reminder of how the character is a perfect ally to the Avengers. I'm not sure where that comes from. Monica's approach of not attacking Wanda is honorable, and this seems to mirror the ideology that a hero like Steve Rogers stands for. In many ways, it will be interesting to see how Monica's relationship with other heroes will evolve. Given Sword's prominence and her involvement with Nick Fury, Monica is poised to meet several MCU veterans along the way. At this point, the only time will tell if Monica will rise to the occasion to lead Earth's mightiest heroes. But WandaVision proved that she can stand toe-to-toe with the MCU's best and brightest at any given moment.
Where?
I didn't see that. Like, they told me that, but they never showed us that. And the fact that she gained those Spectrum powers instead of the Proton powers, instead of the Captain Marvel powers.
Yeah.
Like, I think of all of her incarnations, to me, Spectrum is the least interesting. I kind of liked Proton because she was like picking up on her mom's mantle. In the comics. Photon, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Words are hard. Anyway, but her not attacking Wanda was not an honorable thing. Like she wasn't doing that out of the kindness of her heart, because she just didn't want to go about it the way Haywood wanted to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even want to be there.
No, she didn't.
So
yeah,
I don't know. In the prominence in her involvement with Nick Fury, we don't know that she's going to see Nick Fury.
I mean, again, even I was assuming that.
I thought Talos, because it was another Skrull.
Yeah, but the second time someone else mentioned Talos, and I don't remember who it was.
I mentioned Talos when we talked about it.
Yeah, okay, but I assumed it was Nick Fury, because the last time we saw Nick Fury in Far From Home, he was on, I don't know if it was a sword station or what, but he was with the Skrulls.
He was with Skrulls, yeah.
So either way, I think
Talos is running around as Nick Fury.
Yeah.
So he's running around wearing Nick Fury's face.
And so
who knows who she's going to talk to. Now, here's the thing. I think Monica Rambeau would be a perfect gateway to the Secret Wars.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But, like, not as a leader of anything, but as, like, a catalyst for kicking off the Secret Wars and uncovering it, and then using Sword as the shield stand-in to, help the Avengers fight
Yeah. And I thought what you just said, you compared her to Bucky as far as being, that was a good comparison because I thought Bucky and I thought Spider-Man as well, especially particularly Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like even, I've read enough Spider-Man, like not a ton, but I've read a good amount of Spider-Man, and I'd never looked at him as being a leader of a group like the Avengers. I think he could, especially like his, but I
think when we're talking like the older versions of Peter Parker, like the adult, maybe, but like the group to me, the group I've always enjoyed him as a part of is the Fantastic Four. The few times he's filled in, and that's always been nice. And his relationship with Johnny Storm is one of my favorite like bro downs in comics. And the antagonistic way he looks at Ben Grimm as like Johnny does it's just fun. And at the same time, he's not on the same level as Reed Richards, but he's not far off, yeah, I don't know. I would say if this is the direction they're gonna go with the MCU, they're really gonna lose a lot of writers. There's a recommended article in here. Michael B. Jordan's Static Shock superhero movie adds writer Randy McKinnon. So what? Any black superhero Michael B. Jordan is gonna play now?
I guess. Are we gonna do deep fake now? Like, so he's gonna be in like 5 movies at a time?
Michael B. Jordan is starring the new Lando Calrissian series on Disney Plus. Like I love Michael B. Jordan. I'm not.
Oh, absolutely, like, you do. But
I
like him. Yeah, he's big fan of his.
Yeah, I love him. Anyway, but to get back to like, no, Monica Rambeau is not the right character for this. Tona Paris is not the right actress for this. She's a perfectly fine actress. Like, for what she did, for what she was given to deal with, I think she did a good job for the most part. Of
all the characters in WandaVision, the only one I think that had a weaker script for them was Hayward.
Yes. And I think Matt, what's his name, who directed all the Shackman, thank you. Like, I think he did her a disservice by not giving her better direction on how to act like a military person.
Agree.
So, and that's a nitpick, but at the same time, it was a nitpick that, like, when you watch her walk in the economy of waste that comes with her movements, especially when she would fight, it was just hard to believe that she was this like kick-ass like super soldier. Like when you look at like what we're going to talk about with John Walker, like I thought that Wyatt Russell did a really good job with a lot of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, let's move on to Supes and LoLo because we're running long here. So we have season 1, episode 5, The Best of Smallville, which is a really confusing title considering the seminal Superman TV show is called Smallville.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Lois and Clark, the further adventures of Superman. It's just the truth. So this one is interesting. The Harvest Festival comes to Smallville. Jonathan is upset as Eliza breaks up with him. As Jonathan acts out from yelling at Clark about moving back to Smallville to drinking at the festival, Clark is reminded about the last festival before he decided to move to Metropolis. Sharon comes back to the Smallville Gazette with her son Derek, who claims he was in a coma and has suffered from memory loss. Chrissy is immediately suspicious and tracks down Derek after fire breaks out at the Smallville Community Center, which Derek himself caused due to struggling with powers like Tag. Meanwhile, Captain Luthor introduces himself to Lois as Marcus Bridgewater and offers to help Lois with her investigation on Edge. Chrissy finds Derek with Lar, re-exposing him to kryptonite radiation to stabilize his powers. Marcus tries to destroy both Derek and Superman, but only Derek is mortally wounded. Lana presents a bench to the town that serves as a memorial to Martha. Marcus sees Lois happy with Clark. Why are they calling him Marcus?
That yeah.
So Alex Luthor sees Lois happy with Clark and is reminded that the Lois on his Earth, who is his wife. After a date at the festival, Sarah and Jordan decide to remain as friends. As Jordan is walking away, he's attacked by Tag. I want to talk about the Alex Luthor stuff first. When he's trailing Superman and Derek in the RV, just the sheer analytical math of how he kept up with them was super impressive, right? The computer is like, if you keep on this heading for 30 seconds, you will intercept them. Yeah. And then he has a freaking bazooka that's able to knock them both out of the sky. It was beautiful. It's just like it showed, like, you know, we talk a lot about story and show don't tell. It showed us why he is a formidable foe. That was a lot of alliteration.
Hey, nothing wrong with alliteration.
For Supes, right? Because he's got this, you know, Skeets type computer from his dimension helping him, you know, do all of this stuff. And I thought it was a really good job of showing the kind of peril that Clark is in with a man like this chasing him and not knowing really because to Clark it's just some guy, just another villain. He doesn't realize how capable he is. And then to top it off with the reveal that he was married to Lois, that Sam was his father-in-law.
Yeah.
I thought was really kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice, and it actually strengthens kind of the resolve he has to, you know, to take down Superman before he turns bad or what have you or whatever. We're assuming that Superman turns bad. Again, this is one of those things where I like looking at it from a different point of view because, you know, you have unreliable narrators. He's an unreliable narrator because we're only getting it from his perspective. Right. We don't know exactly, and I like that. You know, it makes him, he's obviously the antagonist, but he's not. I like it that he's not doing it for selfish gains in the sense of I want more power, so I need to kill Superman. No, he's doing it from the sense that this guy is going to be a threat. I need to do something about it.
Well, and we get the added caveat that he's legitimately protecting the woman that he loves.
Yes,
regardless of how she feels about him.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked that, and I like that going into a cliffhanger with, you know, 8 weeks off to see what happens. That was really good. Chrissy getting her Lois Lane on in this episode was interesting. I almost I was expecting her to die.
I was too, actually.
Especially knowing that this was a cliffhanger episode. I was expecting her, to die or to get infected with X kryptonite. I thought that might have been a thing too.
Yeah, when she was running back to her car after, you know, catching Lar and was Derek.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, she's gonna get stomped.
Yeah,
I thought for sure she was gonna get stomped.
So, well, I thought maybe she was getting burned because they both had the heat vision or the laser eyes, as the boys call it. Yeah, that woman who plays Sharon is really gets on my nerves for some reason. Like, it's like I don't know why anyone helps you. But yeah, I liked that. I liked I mean, like, this wasn't the strongest episode. No. Again, like, you know, like last week, you know, these weren't as strong as the 2 previous episodes in the pilot. But they're still really good. And especially for a CW show because if you're grading on a curve,
most CW shows that are not just filler, but when CW shows are bad, they're really bad. I mean, really bad. And this one is, I won't even call it bad. It's just not as strong as its predecessors.
It's still good.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
It's
still good. And it's got me engaged. And it ended on a way where it's like, damn it, I have to wait this long. So yeah, that was really good. The rallying of Smallville was very interesting, and I think I think they were trying to do a commentary on Middle America, like,
people,
small towns coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they got it quite right, having grown up in a small farming community, that has now become like a much larger, diversified community with a lot more advantages and things like
kind
that.
of like Cobra Kai.
Kind of like Cobra Kai. But I thought they really tried,
Mm-hmm.
right? They really tried to show like how this town festival is important to the community and important to the growth and important to making sure that everybody is taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Derek, purposely or inadvertently, it to me, I couldn't really tell if he purposely did it or not. I think he just couldn't control his powers.
Oh yeah, he couldn't control.
He just went into the wrong room of the church.
Yeah.
And burned all this stuff up. But then to have Morgan Edge swoop in at the last moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's where they lost me. Because, again, these people are... If it's a small community like they show it as, and it's not like Sunnydale, where it's going to just be ever expanding, and like, all of a sudden, Smallville,
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was just like, it just seemed really disingenuous. And I get what they're trying to do with Morgan Edge, but at the same time, I feel like these people would have found a way.
Yeah, I think that's where this fails in this, because I knew that they were going to bring, when Lana is saying, "Oh no, everything's okay now," I was like, they're going to bring the Morgan Edge thing in here.
Yep.
Which, again, if you wanted to show a town like that, if you wanted to send the message that these people stick together, these people in times of strife can come together and do things that they can't do alone, you would have kept Morgan Edge out of this. But I know they're really trying to, solidify him as this villainous, billionaire guy who obviously he has ulterior motives, which I'm curious in what his ulterior motives are.
Yeah.
I hope it's not as cut and dry as it seems. I really hope it's something a little bit deeper.
If it's just Kryptonite, it's
right.
Again, that single dimension mustache twirling, villain in air quotes.
Yeah, and again, I'm one of those. I like, for the most part, in my villains, to have at least an understanding of where they're coming from. And again, when people mistake understanding for agreeing. No,
we got that last week with Thaddeus Kilgrave.
Mm-hmm.
In the 2.5 minutes of screen time that Brendan Fletcher had. Like, I feel like we understood what Thaddeus wanted, what his beef with Superman was, and how he's going to use Intergang to get what he wants.
Right. Yeah.
Plain and simple. But yeah, I mean, Morgan Edge in this instance is the homeless man's Lex Luthor.
Pretty much.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Like, he's the tokenized Lex Luthor with hair. So let's just put it that way.
That's funny. I didn't even think about it. It's so obvious too. Like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
In that regard. So
yeah, like Lois, I didn't feel like Lois had a lot to do in this episode,
no,
other than to just be supportive of everybody,
mm-hmm.
which is fine. I mean, if that's how you're gonna use Bitsy Turlock, great. I think she's, as we've seen through the rest of the season, she brings so much more to the table. Like the date night from last week,
mm-hmm.
I think was an amazing example of why she's Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
And then giving Chrissy the Lois Lane, again, the homeless woman's Lois Lane moments this week. I just feel like it would have been so much more powerful if Lois was covering that, because I think it adds a different kind of stake to it, because she knows what that means to Superman and Clark's safety. And
I will say this, if I like that Chrissy forced herself to get out of her comfort zone, sure. But I think it would have been stronger if they would have waited to do something like this with just for her character, not this situation, right. But for her character a few episodes down the line.
Yeah. Or maybe even in season 2.
Yeah.
Like, she's a Lois Lane fangirl for sure. But, you know, and Chrissy's a fine character. It's just we don't know enough about her. And then to throw her into this situation, it felt, like you said, unearned, you know? Clark versus... Well, okay. I told you my favorite thing about this episode is Superman Nerd Dad.
Yeah.
And that's the subtitle. The Nerd Dad version of Superman is my favorite version of Superman. The way he dealt with the boys in this episode was great. I mean, with getting Jordan to love Smallville, and it's not just because of Sarah. I mean, it's because of that, and then understanding, being able to empathize with Jonathan, and then when Jonathan's like, "What do you know?" He told him the proto-Superman story, where he was stopping crime in Smallville, and how he was told by his mom, who is not a monster version of Martha Kent, Diane Lane, pay attention. She was like, you have to go help people. You're meant for greater things in the world.
So it's not, you don't owe these people anything.
No. See, that is where the Snyderverse fails me. It's and the fact that the foundational moral characters of Superman and of what is the cornerstone of the shared universe are literal monsters. Yeah. Let the kids die, Supes.
And it's funny because you know how much I love Man of Steel, and that's anytime you say that, I'm always like, yeah, you're right.
Well, when I said it to you the first time, the look on your face was great because you did not see it that way.
Yeah, but you know, then thinking back, it's like I mean, and again, if we want to get on, you know, the allegory of who Superman is, this, you could not have parents to do that.
Right.
But one of the things I liked in this episode too was Jonathan has been he's been Jordan's pretty much biggest fan. He's been there for him. And I'm glad that, you know, they made this partially about him in the sense of the issues he's having to deal with, that he is not, you know, he's a teenager and he is having trouble, his girlfriend dumps him over the phone.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
in school, like in the first bell.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to think about is when they were in Metropolis, Jonathan was Superboy.
Mm-hmm.
He was the star. He was the popular one. He was QB1, you know. He was Matty Saracen.
Yeah.
Right? He came in and he stepped up. And here in Smallville, he's just another kid who's making a lot of bad choices. And, you know, I thought it was great of Clark to recognize, like, hey, he's acting out for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do the right thing and give him a break and not just dig into him.
Yeah, because even I love that scene where, you know, when Jonathan comes in and he apologizes, and you know, when Clark says, you know, this is your freebie, and then Lois kind of looks at him like, it is?
Yeah. But like a good partner, she doesn't tear him down or, you know, take away from his decision making and undermine him. She supports him outright.
Yeah.
This is why they're an amazing couple. This is why when Dan Didio took away all the husbands and wives from characters in the comics, this is why you have these relationships, because you have these godlike beings, and then you have them married to mortals, mere mortals, and that's what grounds them. That's what humanizes them.
Yeah,
that's what makes like an aspirational character like Superman accessible, and not like the comic I was telling you about where
I read that
Superman is. You read the book, or you read about it?
I read it.
Yeah. So, Superman Red and Blue, if you guys don't know, came out last week, and Superman is fighting in a fake Soviet bloc country, freeing people from a concentration camp, internment camp. And this country magically has synthetic kryptonite, and I think it was the 80s. And they depower Superman, and they keep him captive and torture and rape him for 8 months. And it's like, why would you do the person who wrote that? I'm not even gonna say their name, because they should not be allowed to write existing IP anymore. because they have a fundamental lack of understanding of who and what these characters are, and they have a fundamental lack of what makes comics special. If you want to write your own weird, perverse shit,
make your own comic.
Make your own stuff. And I don't care if it's an anthology. I mean, it's as bad as the guy in the Black Lightning anthology who was talking about Superman is racist. He only saves white people. Superman is an Anglo-Saxon superhero. Is he? Is he? Does he? You know, you're projecting. It's like the Children of the Atom, that lady projecting and putting herself in and making the worst possible tokenized versions of every character.
And it's a fundamental lack of creativity and vision.
Well, again,
and imagination.
We're going to invoke the name of the great Eric July. They're creatively bankrupt.
100%.
I mean, he had a great video today as we're recording this. Was it today or yesterday?
Today, I don't. So, I watched it today.
It was either on Thursday, March 25th or Friday, March 26th. Young Ripa 5'9" had a great video about manga is taking off. And manga introduces new characters that get over all the time. And DC and Marvel can't do that.
Yeah. And what happens, I actually just was last week, I think I read one of the manga writers had another series coming out, and they cut it because, you know why? The series before that didn't sell. Yeah. But, yeah, to your point, that's why I love anime so much. It's because, all these anime are coming from manga, and, One Punch Man came out, how, maybe 3-4 years ago, a few years ago, and he skyrocketed. My Hero Academia, which is one of my favorite shows, it's great.
I just can't get into it.
No, that's understandable.
And I get people who like it, and I understand. What I've seen, I understand why people who like it it, but it's just not for me.
Like Attack on Titan, another one that's all these. One Piece, which that's some of these. Like I've never watched One Piece, but I know a lot of people do. But there are countless examples of this. Full Metal Alchemist from. I mean, that's probably about 15 years ago or something like that. But all of these are creative and new characters, and I'm not even mentioning some of the old manga stuff like Dragon Ball Z or whatever. But these people they don't have imagination. They lack imagination.
Yeah. So all right. So back to the episode. Closing out on Jordan. Jordan had a really interesting arc this episode because he had Sarah asked him out on a date. She didn't show up, and instead of getting whiny and mopey and joining Jonathan and just drowning his sorrows, he stuck true to kind of who they're setting him up to be. And he kept his level head. He was cool about it when him and Sarah were talking, and she was going over just a fraction of what is happening at home. He's like, no, I get it.
He wasn't passive aggressive.
No, he wasn't at all. And it was so healthy to see. That made with Tag kidnapping him and beating him as we fade to Superman logo, all the more powerful. Because if he had spent the whole episode whining and pining and being a twitchy weirdo, it would not make you worry about oh shit, I have to wait until May 13th until this comes back to find out what happens to him. Does he have enough power? Did he get exposed to enough X-Kryptonite?
Yeah, in
Smallville to be able to fend this off.
And that's where a lot of these CW shows go the route of the that soap opera drama, in the sense of most shows on the CW would have been, he would have gotten an attitude. Right. He would have gotten upset.
They would have zagged instead of doing the right thing and zig. And this time they zigged. And again, I think Todd Helbing has done a really, really good job. So I mean, this episode was directed by Rachel Talalay, and the teleplay was by Brent Fletcher and Nadria Tucker, and then the story was by Todd Helbing. So there's been so much consistency from the writer and the director's chairs of, the teleplays are by certain writers, but the story is by Todd. Or Todd wrote the whole thing. Or, the same director. We've had a couple of, it's only been 5 episodes, but, it hasn't been 5 directors. and I think that's important. And I still haven't bothered to look up to see how many episodes this is.
I think it's 13.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I hope that's where they stay. I mean, it's already been picked up for a second season, so hopefully that's 13 episodes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so out of Smallville Harvest Festival, chocolate covered bacons.
Ooh, that sounds good.
I know, right? I'm gonna go 3.5 again, like last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same as what I did last week, 3.25.
Yeah. So good episode, not great, serviceable. Has me excited. Like, if this was wrestling, this would be the go home episode before the big podcast. This is the go home episode before the hiatus. And I will say CW shows typically do this kind of show well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do.
I think this one did better than most. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm really excited with the reveal of Alex and Lois. I
really like that.
That was just really, really good, and something that could have been handled much worse than it was, but they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Bucky and what's his name? Sammo. Can you call him Sammo?
Yeah.
I mean, you could call him Sammo, I guess. Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, this was the Star-Spangled Man. So this episode opened different than any of them we've had so far,
and I really appreciated that.
We got the previously on. We got to spend time directly with John, and I really liked that. I really thought that was a wise choice to show him in his old stomping grounds. I don't know. Have you ever gone back to your old locker room?
No.
So I haven't either. So but I could imagine what I would feel if I walked into that locker room. And I liked when he peeled the name off and his plate, like his metal plate was still there. I will say he is the poor man's Steve Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
And his buddy there is the homeless man, Sam Wilson. So, and I know I've used that analogy a couple times in this episode, but it's been very true and apropos.
Might have to retitle the episode.
No. So, yeah, there was so much good stuff in this episode compared to last week. We're not going to get super deep into it. I will say there was really good action. We finally got Sam and Bucky together, and we'll talk about that during the commentary. Getting to meet John and understand that he's a good man who has been put in an impossible situation, and the failure that is going to that will precede him, or come because of him. Sorry, precede him isn't the right word. That will come from because of him is truly heartbreaking, because I think Wyatt Russell made you kind of like him a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say he looks like he's got a dip in Wyatt Russell, the way his the structure of his jaw looks like he's got the tobacco in his lip. A little dip packet, but he was I liked him. I liked him as this role. It's unfortunate that the introduction of him at the end of the first episode was such a horrible angle that he looked like Carl from Up in the Captain America mask. But yeah, I don't know. We learned a lot. A lot happened. There was no Joaquin this week, which made me sad.
He was in it for 3 seconds.
Yeah, so I wouldn't count that.
Yeah.
That's not enough. That's not enough Joaquin time. He's their guy in the chair. So, but yeah, we learned more about the villains. Infest Nest is the bad guy. Infest Nest is a tokenized version of a male character.
Yes.
So, and there was some, as you put it, before while we were eating dinner, some serious virtue signaling that happened in this episode.
Yeah.
And I don't. We had it last episode. We have it this episode. I don't like the way it's going with that.
It's not needed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There are certain things that you can put that that are true to life that happen organically in a show. And the two examples that we've been given so far, you know what? Yes, stuff like this happens, but it did not happen organically in the confines of the show and what was going on. You saw it coming from a mile away. Just because, and that's not good. That
the minute the police car pulled up, you knew it was going to happen. I will say we're not going to spoil who this new character that was introduced in this episode was, but when Bucky was like, "It's the guy with the arm," like that was great, and I did not expect it to be this person. I didn't think they'd go there, but yeah, I don't know. The Flag Smashers are an interesting group. The one guy, the one Flag Smasher, sacrificed himself to get away, which was interesting with the power brokers. I think having Carly Morgenthau.
I don't know how they spell it. Yeah.
So the character, she's the group leader of the Flag Smashers, which in the comics it's Carl Morgenthau, and he was Flag Smasher, and he was the leader of the Flag Smashers. It's just another example of like, why?
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get you want to have more of everything in all of this and less of what the canon of the character is. But I mean, they still haven't even shown us Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
They mentioned her finally.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen her. How about you give us Sharon
instead of
as the liaison with the team with Sam. And in that I like my one real gripe besides the virtue signaling stuff is the jetpacking that happened in this episode. The way they were able to make it around the world.
Yeah. And usually that's one of those things that unless it's like overly gratuitous like it was in this episode, I discount.
Right.
Game of Thrones was really bad, especially the last couple seasons.
The last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones was really
like
bad.
they had transporter technology.
Well, considering the previous 6 seasons, 6 seasons, they spent like the entire half of a season walking on the King's Road to get from King's Landing to Winterfell to King's Landing. It's like things like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's this one had some good moments. And the other thing I told you is I really like the chemistry between Sam and Bucky, but at the same time there was a little bit too much of the ha-ha, this was funny, comedy, little snark type stuff.
Yeah.
And also, while I understand the anger that both of those guys would have for how the government did in picking another Captain America.
Yeah.
The way they treated, John Walker was absolutely dickish and unnecessary.
Oh, yeah, I mean they were elitist.
Yeah.
They were
like
snobs.
Yeah, they were like 10-year-olds. Yeah. And they were
they are like 10.
Well, they are like 10-year-olds.
So
yeah.
let's be honest. The meme, how old are you? Right? Have you seen that? And the next thing is 106.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, you're right. And actually the way they treated Lamar. Yeah. I thought was even worse.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, you're the other guy's sidekick.
Yeah.
And when he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm his Sam Wilson."
And
it's like, all right.
And then when Sam gets upset where he's like, "Hey, I could use, Captain America's wingman."
Yeah.
There is nothing denigrating about that.
No. You have wings. Dude, you're a man.
You just talked about your wingman that got blown out of the sky in Winter Soldier.
Yeah. You're lucky your name is Falcon and not Wingman.
Yeah. There is There was nothing denigrating about him calling John calling him Captain America's wingman.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
Yeah.
And for him to take it like that was just so petty to me.
It's funny because like we talked about last week, they did not need to humanize Sam the way they did.
Yeah.
And I think they made him a more angry militant character. And
he's never been that in the MCU.
He has, but it's been the recent MCU, like the all new, all different.
No, I mean like the MCU, the movies.
Oh, sorry, MCU. Sorry, I meant comics. But yeah, no, in the movies he's been the
optimist almost.
Like I'm as much as Hawkeye is, the human face of the Avengers, I think Sam is right there with him as like maybe even more so. Because, he got beat by Ant-Man. But yeah, it's just one of these things. And then with Bucky, the like Angel said, my wife, she wants to just see a show of him in therapy.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, watching him in therapy with flashbacks to what he did, that would be an amazing show. But like, that show's going to get old after 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But I like the woman who plays the therapist.
Yeah, I really like her.
I like the relationship she has. I like that she served with John. That was a nice touch. But yeah, I mean, part of the downfall that's going to happen to John Walker has to do with the power brokers. But also will have to do directly with the way that Sam Wilson treated him. I think Bucky is partially to blame, but I don't think I think there are excuses to be made for Bucky.
Oh, absolutely.
He's 106. He doesn't understand the world. He was a brainwashed super soldier for 90 years. He's a man out of time. You know. What I would like to see the outcome of this is for Bucky to actually take on the U.S. agent role and take the shield, because he was so adamant about Sam, like, you let Steve down. Steve gave you a mission and you failed him. And maybe that's why Sam is a little more militant, but at the same time it's like, dude, you let your best friend down. You stood up there and you said those flowery words about him, but there was no depth to that.
Yeah. Because if you know who Captain America was as well as you did, he would not have given something like this to you lightly. No. And instead of
especially because like Bucky is actually a little more of a natural choice, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and hopefully, and to your point with what's going to happen with John Walker, I really hope that from his character arc standpoint, Sam Wilson owns up to his part in when shit goes sideways.
Yeah. So I will say Sam / Anthony Mackie had my favorite line of the whole show when Bucky was sneaking around. He goes, "Look at that, a regular old White Panther." And Bucky goes, it's White Wolf, actually. He's like, wait, what?
I love that.
Like, I want them to dig more into his time at Wakanda. I want Sam to dig into his time at Wakanda and kind of figure some of that out. So, because, yeah, I mean, like, he's got to fight. I did like the other thing, too, when Bucky's like, what was that second rule again?
Yeah.
Because he's going to hurt some people.
Yeah.
He's going to hurt them bad.
Yeah.
I will say, this show is beautiful. It looks amazing. This is
incredible. It's incredible.
Just like last week, it was 49 minutes runtime. I think we actually got a little more actual screen time because of the way it started. The band music playing the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan, going through the Marvel logo, I thought was a great touch. And yeah, the only people who don't like John Walker are Sam and Bucky. Right?
Right.
And it's like,
and it has nothing to do with what he did.
No. they could welcome. Like, here's the thing, though: is I don't want them to just welcome him with open arms.
Yeah.
I want there to be some form of distrust. But like, we got to see a training montage, and it's like he's not a super soldier, like by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a pinnacle of human,
absolutely,
human athleticism. And it was great to it was really great to see, especially when he was doing the shield and everything, and that thing really does not follow the laws of physics. Peter was right, but
one of my favorite lines in MCU,
right? Yeah, this is just this is an interesting show,
right?
I'm not ready to say this is a great show. I have some friends who are like, this was so much better than WandaVision because it's so MCU. I was like, actually, WandaVision was a little more MCU than you're giving it credit for. I don't think this is as creative as WandaVision.
Oh no,
I think this is the Marvel by the numbers formula of everything, and I think the introduction of Zemo. I'm either gonna love it or hate it.
Yeah, I'm actually I was thinking Zemo was going to come in a different way, to be honest,
like breaking out of the raft
or something along those lines. As far as the show as a whole, it has a lot of potential. It's more straightforward, and we knew that. We said that even before it started.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, WandaVision gave you this, like, it's a very creative way from start to finish. This is going to be more along the lines of something like a Winter Soldier, that espionage drama, but a little bit more.
I feel like this is closer to Civil War than Winter Soldier.
I was going to say a little bit more straightforward, which is not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Not bashing it at all.
But I knew what I was going to get, and there are certain things I'm wary about, and it's some of the virtue signaling that they've done so far. I'm hoping that. I want to see them get into the plot and to these characters more, and not try to relate everything to 2021 or whatever you want to call it. No, it's actually 2023 or 4 or something like that. So that's because, again, I love Anthony Mackie. I really like him. The only thing I really didn't like him in, and he did okay in it, but Altered Carbon season 2 was just bad. And Sebastian Stan, like him too, and I love their chemistry. I'm just hoping that the story does those two characters justice.
Yeah, I think they're a great team together.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's the second episode, right? Let's give it some time,
right?
But at the same time, like,
it's only
6 episodes.
Yeah,
we've only got 4 to go.
So yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. So let's say out of bullet-ridden flag smashers, out of 5, what do you give this one?
I give it a 3. It's again good. It was good action. It was some good. There were some great moments of levity, but I thought it was a little too much and too forced. I really enjoyed the introduction of John Walker's character and how they showed that, and the things he's saying as far as, I'm not trying to be this Captain America.
Right.
And he didn't just say that to, when he was on stage. He didn't just say that to Sam and Bucky.
He was saying to anyone
he was saying, yes. Yeah. So, and that's what I appreciated about his character. I'm really curious to see how close things play to what we got in the comics.
Yeah. I mean, like, right now in the comics, we're about to get the Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, John Walker, hard traveling heroes looking for Cap's stolen shield, coming across every tokenized version of Captain America you could ever think of. And that's not a good thing.
No.
I would give this one a 3.25. I'd go a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Because of some of the comic book deep cuts.
Yeah, there were. And some of those I knew, some of them I didn't.
Which I enjoy. But at the same time, the one big surprise, I think, I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting character. It's not necessarily a character who's going to be well known, and I think it's a character that will be more problematic to the normie MCU universe than is necessary. It'll be divisive.
Yeah. And it was funny because, like, right when he said the character's name, I told you, I was like, I couldn't remember the character's last name.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure they're doing him. They're doing that. So.
I was really when he said the name. I knew who. Well, when he was talking about when Bucky was talking about what he had done to this person, I figured out who it was, and I was like, oh, I don't know. I love the actor that they picked, so I think this is a meaty role for him. So I'm excited to see more. But as far as the character goes, the anthology he was introduced in hasn't like aged any better. So yeah, I don't know. All right. Well, cool. Anything else?
Next week, Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, and we have Invincible. We'll do the first 3 episodes later this week. So be on the lookout for that. If you are liking this, head over to YouTube and like and subscribe. We're trying to grow that. If we can get some more subs and a few more, I guess, views, we're gonna start doing like kind of midweek, or not midweek, like just weekly, daily, individual posts between Darryl and I. So we want to definitely grow that out and talk about more stuff than just kind of the weekly and the odd bonus episode. So yeah, just kind of check that out. Head over to infamousPodcast.com. There's the link there. And yeah. All right. Cool. Well, thank you all for listening. We will talk to you later.
See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Darryl Jasper and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/infamouspodcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.